All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our virtual gathering of Houston Oasis. My name is Alexis Potaman, and we're really excited to have you here today. I usually like to start each meeting with a couple of core values, but today, since this is our last virtual gathering of the year, I wanted to take a brief moment and reflect on 2020. This time last year, we celebrated the winter solstice with the other secular communities in Houston, and we're making plans to ring in the new year with family and friends. When the clock struck midnight, I don't think any of us could have had any idea what this year had in store for us. Between the continuing tension around politics and racism, all against the backdrop of a global pandemic, we've really been stretched to our limits individually, collectively. Not only our Oasis values, but our personal values have been really tested this year. Through it all, or despite it all, I think we've all learned the importance of reason, the importance of human hands solving human problems, and most importantly, the importance of community. While virtual connection doesn't always go near as far enough to meet the needs of the human connection, we're really proud to have brought weekly gatherings to everyone to bring people together each week. As 2020 comes to a close, we're looking forward to 2021 being a better year and hope to resume in-person gatherings as soon as it's safe to do so. So with that, let's go ahead and get this Sunday gathering started. Our main talk will be given today by William London. After our main talk, we'll break out into discussion groups before having some Q&A and another song. Our musician today is Houston native Nathan Quick, and it looks like we have a guest with you. So let's go ahead and get this day started with a couple songs from Nathan Quick.
Hey there, everyone. My name's Nathan. This is Brendan over here. We're going to be playing a few original songs this morning. This one's called Coming Home. You can try and hide, run away from your pains. You can learn to strive and take steps and day by day. You can live in lies, try and be two-faced. You can try and find, learn to grow and make your change. Make your change. When are you coming home? When are you coming home? And come home, and come home. Thanks so much, y'all. This next one is called The Mile. It's another original song.
Thank you so much. All right. So our main speaker today is Dr. William London. Dr. London, whose doctorate is in health education, teaches and writes about the promotion of health-related misinformation, sensationalism, superstition, pseudoscience, fraud, and quackery. He is the consumer health columnist for Skeptical Inquirer Online, the editor of Quack newsletter, Consumer Health. He was co-founder and first president of the Ohio Council Against Health Fraud and later served as president of the National Council Against Health Fraud. Until his election as fellow, he was a scientific and technical consultant to the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry. This past year, he has spearheaded the Center for Inquiry's online coronavirus resource center and dubious COVID-19 treatments and preventatives webpage. So please welcome to the screen, Dr. William London.
Thank you. Wonderful to be here with everybody in Houston and anywhere else. I guess I should try to share my screen. Let me do that. And looks like I got it up there. And get it going. Okay. I'm assisting in the branding effort of my university, as you can see. You've given me a rather big, I have a big topic that you advertised, health-related quackery, and planning to talk about health freedom, which kind of goes along with quackery, this notion of health freedom. A lot to cover in a short amount of time. I'm going to do my best. First, a disclaimer. The views expressed by me are not official views taken by Cal State LA, although they ought to be. They're nevertheless, I do support the university's branding efforts and I thank Cal State LA for its support of academic freedom, which is not the same as this notion of health freedom that I want to explore with you today. I need to introduce what quackery is all about. It's a term that's gone into a lot of disuse over the years. So people often don't know what the word refers to. And there are many definitions of quackery. And the key word in any of the definitions is promote. And especially through advertising, publicity, direct selling, word of mouth is how quackery is promoted. So what is being promoted with quackery are health products, services, or practices of questionable safety, effectiveness, or in the case of tests or procedures for screening or diagnosis, validity for an intended purpose. One of many definitions about quackery, and this was from the now defunct National Council Against Health Fraud. And a quack could be the promoter of those things. This is a report that the government was actually involved with related to quackery back in 1984. Since then, the government actually has gotten involved a little bit in promoting quackery. So what is, let's give you a concrete example. And I'll ask you this question. Did Trump engage in health quackery? Well, I wrote this before he became president. In 2009, turned out Trump licensed his name to Ideal Health, the company, and urged Americans to become distributors in multi-level marketing company called the Trump Network. Multi-level marketing is a way of promoting quackery. Almost any health product sold multi-level is of dubious value. Any health product is of dubious value that way. Multi-level marketing involves people becoming distributors of products, using the products, recruiting other people to be distributors, and then those people recruit others to be distributors. And each step along the line, you spread the money to others, to the ones up above you. It's a great way of creating expensive health products. So Trump claimed in a promotional video that his plan was designed to lead millions of people, Americans, to better health and financial independence. Featured product was the Privatest, which was the guide to customized dietary supplements. And indeed, the company grew, and eventually it went into decline. The owners went into bankruptcy. Business was sold to another multi-level marketing company. His licensing contract ended in 2011. I've been very busy with Trump lately. In August, I wrote this piece for my consumer health column, Trump and COVID-19, population health neglect, hydroxychloroquine hype. The promotion of hydroxychloroquine, here's the most prominent promoter of them all, Donald Trump. My most recent piece, Trust, Truth, and Trump in the Time of COVID, where I talk about healthy skepticism as a way of searching for truth. And I talked about how instead of healthy skepticism, Trump promotes cynicism. And I also talk in this article about the response of the scientific community to Trump's lack of efforts related to COVID. Quackery can cause harm. It can cause harm directly by the toxic effects of what is being sold. It can cause harm indirectly because it can divert people away from things that could actually help them. It can take your money, and that's the most common kind of harm. In most cases, quackery simply lightens your wallet. It can cause psychological harm, often because the quacks will convince you to engage in rather laborious regimens, and that you must follow strictly. And if you don't, well, it's your fault. And often people wind up blaming themselves. Also, people are psychologically harmed when they find that they subjected a loved one or convinced a loved one to do something that wasn't in their best interests. It causes societal harm in the way that it erodes truth, and certainly having agreed upon truth is pretty much essential for democracy. So how do you spot quackery? Well, this session's advertised as interactive. If you want to go into the chat area and give me some suggestions for how to spot quackery, what's some signs of quackery? If you want to chime in, please offer some. If not, I will go ahead and start doing so. If somebody's not giving evidence, that's a pretty good one. That's pretty much the definition of it. If somebody was to say guarantees, bold claims, yes, all those. Guarantees are often, be wary of guarantees and getting your money back. You may not. Appeal to emotions, absolutely. all good stuff. So here are some of the pitches. Everyone needs dietary supplements. They often use the language, I treat the body and the body heals itself, using an integrative approach to medicine. That's the last one I have on this page. It involved with natural as well. And there we go. We got some comedy. Every time Trump opens his mouth, you might like reading my article, my columns. Cancer and other diseases are often described as symptoms, where they treat the body. The diseases are the symptoms of unwellness. It's the only cure, or too good to be true. Yes, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably isn't. Most diseases are caused by faulty nutrition. There's the hype. They may have unusual test methods for overall nutrition status. They may use one part of the body as the benchmark for the overall health. Iridology looks at the iris of the eyes. Foot reflexology looks at the foot. They may have fad or unusual diagnoses, fringe diagnostic methods. They do things in a alternate universe way. They may offer Galileo arguments. You know what I mean by that? Oh yeah, chi, special energies. Yeah, that's on my little list too, something like that. You know what I mean by Galileo arguments? Galileo argument is they didn't take Galileo seriously in his time. They don't take me seriously in my time. There you go. No causal relationship explained. Yeah, establishing cause and effect is tricky business. Strange credentials they may have, but sometimes they'll have legitimate credentials. Again, multi-level marketing or a crusading group of any sort, maybe for a particular kind of well, including the health freedom groups that I'll be talking about. The kind of evidence often is testimonials or preclinical research or all sorts of things that wouldn't get replicated. There's this notion of para-herbalism. Now, there is the scientific study of plant-based medicines, but para-herbalism involves a lot of superstitions about herbs. Common kinds of quackery are fountain of youth claims, panaceas. They push athletic super pills, love potions. Strangely, both oxygenation and antioxidants are often promoted, sometimes in the same time. Mind-body emphasis, core to extreme emphasis on healthy attachments, and positive thinking extremism. There's where some psychological harm can come in. Emphasis on detox and cleansing, immune boosting. Here's that there, the chi energy comes into this one of evocation of energy, mysterious energies, vitalism. As soon as they start appealing to quantum mechanics and all its mysteries, be careful. Because it's people don't understand it. That's the problem there. All sorts of metaphysical or consciousness rhetoric, ideological healing systems, big on the pH of blood. That's really emphasized. The rhetoric is of the paranoid style, similar to what a classic essay from Hofstadter back in the 60s, the paranoid style in American politics. We're seeing a lot of that today, and lots of bogus conspiracies. They talk about the so-called allopathic medical monopoly in Big Pharma. Big Pharma is more tightly regulated than what a lot goes on in the quackery realm. And even then, Big Pharma can engage in quackery as well. The replacement of Big Pharma is often with big placebo. There's the demonization and glorification of foods. The importance of clean food and pure food and all this kind of stuff. Well, pure, you don't want it tainted, that's for sure. And the most kind of common tainting is microbiological. Like Trump, nobody knows this but me. Yes, I got one coming up like that. All illness comes from, yeah, we got that. Marianne, I love this list. Okay, you got the GMOs there. That's coming soon in another slide. Anytime, watch this video, probably cure. Okay, good. I'm loving this, this chat room, lots of insight there. Often patient dependency and they try to sign you up for long-term treatment regimens in advance. Scare tactics if you don't, and don't follow me exactly as recommended. People familiar with the healing crisis? Nobody took Bozo seriously. That's a good, it's along the same lines as the Galileo argument as well. You know, the healing crisis is the idea that when in the early stages of treatment and your patient gets worse, what the quack will do is suggest, okay, that's good. That's the toxins coming up. You're having a healing crisis. So if they get better, it's good news. If they get worse, it's a healing crisis. And the healing crisis, you're led to believe, is something that will pass and you'll get better later on. The medicines taste good. Sometimes the medicines will feel good too. That's the doctor feel good approach. There may be something in there that gives you a good high. There's the authoritarian guru posturing. That was along the lines of, somebody said something along those lines. Nobody knows this but me. Yes. And there's all sorts of denialism. And new to my list of denialism is the anti-maskers. And you have to adhere to their demanding multidimensional regimens because they got to treat you holistically, meaning everything that you could possibly do to address somebody's entire well-being is part of the regimen, and you have to buy into it. Now, nobody promotes themselves as a quack. They don't say that. But because what they're doing is rather different, they have euphemisms like holistic, alternative, natural, integrative, natural, or functional medicine may be what you see in the world of quackery. Now, alternative medicine is based on alternative facts. It's an alternate universe. It doesn't make really a whole lot of sense that there should be this special category, alternative medicine. As Dawkins said, either it is true that a medicine works or it isn't. It cannot be false in the ordinary sense, but true in some alternative sense. Erythromycin is an alternative to penicillin, but pogo stick is not an alternative to an automobile, said my former dentist, John Dodds. And another quote, there cannot be two kinds of medicine, conventional and alternative. There is only medicine that has been adequately tested and medicine that has not, medicine that works and medicine that may not work. Another phrasing of this same logic is, there is no alternative medicine, there's only medicine. If there's medicine that has been tested and found to be safe and effective, we should use it, we should pay for it. And medicine that has been tested and found to be unsafe or ineffective, don't use it and don't pay for it. And medicine for which there's some plausible reason to believe that it might be safe and effective, test it and place it in one of the other two categories. We did this with, this is from George Lundberg, who used to be the editor of JAMA. Used to be, there was some plausible reason to believe hydroxychloroquine might be an effective treatment for COVID-19. It's been tested in clinical trials and repeatedly failed. The other day, though, I was listening to a podcast that played a clip from a conservative channel, and this dude said that you could stop the aging process by giving blood because it reduces iron. I'm as confused as could be from that. Here's another definition. And what I highlighted here for you is the reliance on science for showing things to be safe and effective for such purposes. And the other key point I wanted to mention is we have quacks who are dishonest and who are deliberately ripping you off, but we have others who are deluded. They don't know that what they're presenting is not in your best interest. And some who just don't know what they're talking about, sometimes referred to as dumb. And so many are not the charlatans. The charlatans are the dishonest quacks. Many quacks, though, are the mavericks who just try to come up with something special. The cranks are the odd people who have strange ideas. They're the deluded and the simply misguided. Another misconception is that people with impressive credentials can't be quacks. There are a lot of quacks who have far more impressive credentials than I have. So don't go by just the credentials. Oh yeah, hemochromatosis. Yes, that's a different issue. Right. Yeah, you want some people have too much iron problems. Okay. Quacks can't be knowledgeable or smart. They often know a whole lot, but they're often irrational and overconfident in their judgment and expertise. It's actually a major public health concern, and I'm a public health professional, and I'm in a field that largely neglects quackery as a public health problem. People often rely on personal experience to judge what's works and unsafe in healthcare. I like personal experience for telling me if you were treated kindly, or if you had long waits in an office, or something like that. But to make judgments about whether something works or not so much. She had to eat these special caramel candies. There you go. She didn't lose weight, but I ate them all. There we go. Yeah, everybody's got to have a gimmick. That's what often how quackery works. People have clever gimmicks that can catch on. So don't think you're too smart to be vulnerable to quackery. That's a key message. And quacks aren't always so easy to spot. You should recognize they aren't. They can seem to be pretty sophisticated. So people are seduced because of distrust by physicians, and fear, and seductive self-confidence, and all sorts of reasons. And it may fit in well with your religious, spiritual, or cultural beliefs. And beware of the mass media, which has wound up mainstreaming quackery. Here's some more definitions. This one replaces some definitions that have profit in it to financial gain. And financial gain is probably more accurate, because if you're giving money like as a donation, the people who receive the donation are financially gaining, but they may not be in a profit-making enterprise. That may appeal to donations to faith healers, for example. And this one is the definition the Food and Drug Administration uses. They don't use the term quackery. They talk about health fraud or health fraud scams. Now, don't confuse health fraud with health insurance fraud. Insurance fraud is ripping off insurance companies. It may or may not involve quackery. It usually doesn't. Often it's billing for services that haven't been provided to the insurer. For proving things safe and effective, we should recognize that there is a hierarchy of evidence. And when we have any kind of uncertainty, we want to go up to randomized controlled trials toward the top of the hierarchy. Now, this is a hierarchy of clinical evidence. A lot of quacks, when they're dealing with clinical evidence, can give you their best series of cases, but the problem is they may not keep score overall with how their patients do. A lot of the evidence doesn't even appear on this chart because it's preclinical, like laboratory evidence. A lot of the quacks don't like this hierarchy of evidence. They prefer anarchy of evidence. So let's see this. What else do we have in here? Some people, because they can't afford actual medical treatment, is a very important point that I may have neglected there. Thank you. And 3 minutes or so, we can get some questions in after the break. That sounds good. Okay. Here are some of the frauds from '89, but a lot of them are out of date. But we got up to date is the dubious. This is the dubious COVID-19 treatments and preventives page that I manage, and you can see the kinds of things that are promoted. Another red flag is anybody's advocating for health freedom. And here you see the health freedom mindset in the conspiracy theories. One of the signs you see on the right side says masks are muzzles. And that's the people who are promoting all sorts of quack methods are often involved with these mask protests as well. Here are some health freedom fighters. This is a coalition, and here's a whole range of individuals and organizations involved with that movement. Here's a California-based organization, California Citizens for Health Freedom. There are a whole bunch of organizations. And in the name of health freedom, all these kinds of things are promoted. And the way quackery works is to undermine trust in medicine and public health. And if you can do that, then we can get our alternatives in. And in the name of health freedom now, you see that masks are being promoted. Do I have time to get into some of the principles that the health freedom movement points out, or am I pretty much out of time for that?
You know what, go ahead and take like a minute or two to go over that.
Okay, well, I'm going to skip through Leonard Coldwell pretty quickly. This was at a health freedom expo that I attended. And you can see that people are quite devoted to Leonard Coldwell. And it's remarkable, he speaks, this is someone who speaks with great confidence and very slowly. So I was able to take notes and write down various assertions he made, like all of these. And I'm going to go through them quickly. Cancer is not even an illness, it's just a malfunction due to lack of energy. he's saying some really kind of unusual things. Science proves that 86% of all illness is stress related, only 14% of behavior patterns, diet, and stupidity. Okay. He claims to have 8 doctorates and to have cured 40,000 patients of cancer. And you can see how devoted people were to him. That's his book, The Only Answer to Cancer. He's one of those who only has the answer. The root cause is energy that causes inflammation. Cancer is not such a big deal. He gets out of all these kinds of extraordinary claims, but he's very convincing to his followers because he's so confident in how he promotes himself. And at the end of his talk, he literally said, I don't need your money, I take your money. But he said it in such a way that it didn't seem odd to the people there. That was 10 years ago, but he's still in the picture here. He was just in May subject of a fact check. Here's a health freedom, health rights amendment proposed for the Constitution. The Congress shall make no law which restricts any individual's right to choose and to practice the type of health care they shall elect for themselves or their children for the prevention or treatment of any disease, injury, or ailment of the part of the body. Now, that's talking about the consumer. But the question is, should people who are promoting the stuff have the right to be practicing the type of healthcare that they want to practice? That's kind of what I'd like to explore with you. I don't think I have time to get into that in any detail now, do I? Or do I?
I'm sorry, my computer just froze for a brief second. I think we don't have time for that right now, but
okay.
We are going to go into breakout rooms, and we are going to have some time for some Q&A afterwards. So definitely we can kind of explore it a bit more afterwards.
Very good. Very good.
All right. And so with that, we're going to take a few minutes to break out into Q&A. This is a chance for people to kind of come up with questions. There's a lot of engagement in the comments about the discussion. So I think the Q&A is going to go, breakout discussions are going to go great. So if you're joining us on Facebook Live, this is a great time to post your questions in the comments, and we can get them over here to Zoom. So with that, we'll take a short break. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully we had some great discussion in the breakout rooms. All right. We do have a couple questions already in the chat that we'll go ahead and get started with. First from John, is there medical evidence to support that living in stress or an extended state of fear produces excess disease, cortisol?
Yeah, let me find the question. I saw it before. Yeah. Well, yeah. And it can, certainly because of that, stress can exacerbate just about anything. But that's a little different from claims like rooting all disease as stress. It's it's not quite the same thing, but certainly stress is an important component to how the course of anybody's particular illness.
Right.
And stress management's important.
All right. This is the next one. It's kind of more of a comment than a question, but sometimes some people who do alternative medicine do it because they can't afford actual medicine or medical treatment.
Yeah.
Thoughts or comments on that?
Sure. It's absolutely true. At the same time, there's also plenty of quackery, even when there are in countries where everybody's insured. So it's certainly an issue in the United States where access to care may not be available, and there's more convenient access to your local natural foods, herbal supply shop or whatever.
And kind of to follow up on that, you mentioned there's plenty of quackery in countries that do have better access to healthcare. Something I've seen kind of floating around that women tend to be more likely to take part in alternative medicine. And that's largely because a lot of times mainstream medicine doctors don't tend to take issues seriously, and a lot of the medical treatments have been tested on men and don't necessarily help women as much. Do you have any thoughts on that at all?
Well, I think medical research has improved over the years in terms of making sure that people in clinical trials are representative of the people who are likely to get treated. So there has been some progress in that notion. I'm not aware of what particular statistics are with respect to men and males, females, but there are definitely ways that I agree with what you were saying is the bottom line.
Hopefully one day it'll be better, and that information will disseminate out to more people. All right, we have another question. How would you respond to people who claim to think that the entire medical community is in cahoots with each other to sell more medicine to the public?
It's an interesting notion, given that the medical professionals and their and their families and their loved ones are susceptible to the same kinds of serious health problems that everybody else is, and they're not running to quackery generally for their own care or for their own loved ones. And at the same time, lot of quackery avoids scrutiny by selling people all sorts of stuff that isn't covered by insurance, and they're making money by charging people directly out of pocket. So they often have their own conflicts of interest. But that's the way. That's part of the quack pitch. Quacks like to say, look at all the conflicts of interest of the medical pharmaceutical establishment, but they have their own. So.
Absolutely. Next question. Do you think a single payer system would reduce some of the quackery?
Possibly, but at the same time, I think it would still be a very significant public health problem. In your opinion, what would be the best way to talk people out of using quackery medicine? I'd like to know the answer to that question myself, as I have had family members not listen to me. One who did regret it afterwards, after particular surgery. I mean, it's very hard when people are really sold on something. You try to be compassionate. You try to be caring. You try to be you try to make sure that you're caring and supportive of them, but it's still very hard once people are truly seduced. Sometimes evidence helps, sometimes it doesn't. Stella Emanuel, hydroxychloroquine. You can read my article. By the way, you can find my stuff just by Googling William M. London, and then you get to my faculty webpage. There's links to all my stuff. What other question? There's no source of funding for clinical trials for very cheap medications. That's a good point, because there's no money to be made to them. At the same time, there are a lot of trials that do get done. In fact, I mean, actually, for example, fish oil supplements have had some clinical trials recently, and the expectations that they would be working well didn't kind of materialize. That was published recently in the journal JAMA. So it's important to recognize when there are the trials. And at the same time, you still want to, even if there's not a whole lot of funding, you still want to have the best available kind of medicine that you can do. Not always going to be a clinical trial, but you still want to do that. But often what looks good in observational research kind of falls apart once you get to the clinical trial stage. What is your opinion of an advertising meds cures on TV? Well, prescription meds is a real problem that it's advertised, because I'll tell you, if you're going to have advertising of meds on TV, like for example, prescription meds, one of the issues there is what's never advertised is the price. If you want to have advertising of prescription meds, we have all these like requirements that you have to show all the adverse reactions, or you have to present the adverse reactions. That's why the prescription ads look the way they do. But we have the things that are being advertised are going to cost people money over time. So we have a major problem with the pricing of prescription drugs. That's a big problem. And and all sorts of other meds. Well, you know, there's a lot of stuff that gets advertised that shouldn't. In my newsletter, Consumer Health Digest, I often have items from the organization truthinadvertising.org that exposes that stuff. Often there are complaints filed with the Federal Trade Commission, and sometimes takes action. But I think a lot of the, you know, I think there can be responsible advertising. There is control over, but prescription drug advertising is a big kind of problem. And it can often, especially since the consumer is not the one who is deciding, is ultimately writing the prescription. I have the answer to why people won't change: ego. That could be an answer. People might talk about cognitive dissonance and things like that. Should people report to proper agency if they receive a quack treatment in a hospital? Sure. I don't know. Anytime that there's quackery, I would report it. I don't know which hospitals are offering the quack treatments, but you heard of the ID Life? That one sounds familiar. There are so many multi-level marketing companies. You know, someone who got whole body MRI at a specialty business and was given a clean bill of health, they were actually tumors. Yeah, I mean, all these, you know, there any kind of business that's promoting, really aggressively promoting any kind of screening. Screening is where one definition of screening is turning normal human beings into patients. In other words, because people are asymptomatic, and then people are sold on various screening methods. Now, if you're going to do screening for anything, you got to have very good evidence for it. And U.S. Preventive Services Task Force is the organization that does the best independent science-based evaluations of screening methods. And you know, whole body MRI is this. I thought that kind of thing was it MRI or the CT? These kinds of screenings make very, very little sense, because what you're likely to find when you do find something, often it's, you know, there's the problem of false positives. There's also the problem of false negatives, as you said. But the false positive problems is you might find some abnormality that's not going to threaten anybody's health. Those are called incidental lomas, which is kind of a neologism, meaning that not just any abnormality is something to worry about. There are so many questions here.
All right. I really don't want to cut you off because there's so much engagement in here, and I'm really loving it. But I do want to stick to that being said, would you be willing to stick around after our final song to keep talking, keep answering questions? Awesome. Sure. Great. Thank you so much. All right. So we're going to go ahead and go to our final song. Believe it or not, after doing this like the entire year, I still don't have my schedule down just right, and I don't have the MC template so thank you all for being here today. Really special thank you to you, Dr. London, and Nathan, for being here. Before we have our final song, I do always like to say, even though we're not meeting in person anymore, we do still have some fixed expenses. So if you are able and you like what we're doing, I'm going to post the donation links here on Facebook in just a second. And if you're able to, please consider donating to what we're doing. And with that, we'll have one final song.
All right, thanks so much. This one's called Pure. Say it's my love you're denying. This trouble is all that I seem to find, but I can't seem to shake you from my mind. 'Cause I just wanna be something that is good with my intentions and my words. As long as the blood running in my veins, I'm gonna find something pure and to be pure. I'm feeling the burden that I must bear. Going through struggles, but I'll prevail. And it feels like a fight for every breath I breathe. But I'm growing stronger with the songs that I sing. 'Cause I just wanna be something that is pure with my intention and with my words. As long as the blood running in my veins, and I'm gonna try more and more to be pure. Cause I just wanna be pure. Cause I just wanna be pure. Cause I just wanna be pure. Thank you all so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone for being here today. Special thank you to the musicians and to Dr. London. Like I said at the start of this, 2020 has certainly been a year, but we're very happy to have been able to bring everyone together on a weekly basis, to have live musical performances from someone like Nathan Quick, who I forgot to give your bio at the beginning, but we get sounds that draw on a vast pool of genres like classic rock, contemporary Americana. We're still bringing y'all award-winning musicians every week like you, and so we're glad to have been here during this pandemic for everybody. and hope for a better 2021.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. All right. Thank you all for being here. Like I said, this is our last virtual gathering of the year. But next week, we're not going to have a virtual gathering. We are going to have an in-person, socially distanced, mask required, in-person gathering at Memorial Park. So keep an eye out for our emails for that. And don't forget to join us back here tonight on Zoom for our weekly coronavirus conversation with Dr. Richards Andrews and Will Judy. So keep an eye out for our future emails, Facebook posts, meetup, however you're keeping in contact with us. And we'll see you hopefully in person, and if not, in the new year.